Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the entire dating market, everything you were ever taught about men, women, relationships, and society has quietly flipped upside down while you were busy posting selfies and arguing on the internet. What if I told you that millions of men have already made the decision you're terrified of, that they've walked away, closed the door, and for the first time in their lives, they're actually happy? And what if I prove to you step by step that they're never coming back, no matter how many podcasts women cry on, no matter how many viral apologies women post, no matter how many times women scream that this is a crisis? Stay with me until the very last second, because by the time this video ends, you're either going to be cheering or you're going to be staring at your screen, wondering how everything you believed turned out to be the biggest lie you were ever sold. If you want more raw, unfiltered, angry guy content that cuts through the noise and tells you the truth nobody else will, smash that like button right now. Share this video with every man you know who needs to hear it. And hit subscribe so you never miss a single upload. And listen, if you're serious about protecting everything you've worked for and building real wealth in this collapsing economy, go click the link in the description and join Angry's Crypto Academy today. I teach you exactly how to buy, sell, trade, and most importantly, how to keep your assets safe from everything that's coming. The Academy is waiting for you. Link in the description. Go check it out right now. And if these videos are hitting you in the chest the way they're supposed to, show some love and buy me a Red Bull through the link down below. Keeps me awake, keeps me angry, keeps these videos coming. Let's get into it. Women are in full-blown panic mode right now. And I mean panic like deer in headlights, phone in hand, texting their group chat at 2 a.m. asking what the hell just happened, panic. Because the one thing they never thought would happen is happening everywhere, all at once. And it's spreading faster than they can make TikToks about it. Men are walking away. Not some men, not the losers, not the incels, not the guys they already wrote off. Good men, strong men, high value men, men with options, men with money, men with peace, men who used to chase, men who used to simp, men who used to open doors and pay for dinners and plan the future. Those men have stopped completely. They've stopped approaching, stopped dating, stopped caring, and the silence is deafening. And these are the same women who spent years proudly announcing, don't approach me. My DMs are for business only. I don't want to be bothered at the gym. I'm focusing on myself right now. I don't need a man. Men are trash. Masculinity is toxic. If he approaches me in public, he's creepy. I fear men more than bears. Remember that one? The bear thing? Millions of women went viral saying they'd rather be alone in the woods with a wild bear than with a random man. And men heard it. Men heard every single word. And men simply said, cool, enjoy the bear. Because here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Men don't need women the way women need men. Never have. Society lied to both sides for decades, told men they were nothing without a woman on their arm, told women they were nothing without a man's wallet. Turns out only one of those was actually true, and now the bill is coming due. You see, for 50 straight years, we were told that feminism was about equality. Turns out it was about freedom. Freedom for women to do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, with whoever they wanted, and still have a parachute made out of male labor waiting whenever they decided to jump. Ride the wave in your 20s, have your fun, live your truth, sleep with whoever, travel, get the degree, climb the corporate ladder, and then around 35 or 40, push the find a good man button and have the husband, the kids, the ring, the house, the life you were promised. That button worked for a long time. It doesn't work anymore. The button is broken. And women are finding out the hard way that nobody's coming to fix it. Men watch their fathers get destroyed in divorce court. Men watch their brothers pay alimony for kids they barely get to see. Men watch their friends lose half their stuff because she got bored or found herself or grew apart. Men watched the culture call them predators for saying hello. Men watched the laws get rewritten so that a false accusation could ruin their entire life with zero consequences for the accuser. And somewhere along the line, millions of men looked at all of that, looked at the risk, looked at the cost, looked at the absolute absence of any reward, and they quietly, calmly, collectively said, nah, I'm good. And now women are screaming that this is a crisis. A crisis. They're writing articles about it. They're doing podcasts about it. They're making tearful videos begging men to come back. Where have all the good men gone? Honey, we're right here. We just stopped playing a game that's been rigged against us since kickoff. Look around. Inflation is eating people alive. Rent is insane. Groceries cost more than car payments used to. Companies are quietly laying off tens of thousands every single month and replacing them with AI that doesn't need health insurance or maternity leave. And guess which fields are getting hit the hardest? The ones women flooded into over the last 30 years. HR, marketing, admin, communications, middle management, all those soft skill corporate jobs that paid well enough to fund the brunch lifestyle. Gone, automated, deleted. And the men who used to be told you're not needed anymore in those fields, they adapted, they learned skills, they went remote, they learned to code, to trade, to build, to fix, to invest, to live on less and make more. They walked away from the 9 to 5 plantation and built their own lives. You've got men right now living in paid off houses, driving 10-year-old trucks, eating steak every night, day trading crypto for 4 hours in the morning, and then fishing the rest of the day. You've got guys pulling six figures doing remote cybersecurity from a laptop in Thailand. You've got dudes who bought a duplex, live in one half, rent the other, and their tenants pay the mortgage while they stack cash and play video games. Minimalism, brother, peace, freedom, no drama, no court dates. No, we need to talk at 11 p.m., just quiet, control, and compound interest. And women? Women are drowning in six-figure student debt for degrees that nobody needs anymore. Credit card debt for the handbags and the trips and the experiences, car payments on SUVs they can't afford, rent they can barely cover, and a dating market where the men who are left either want nothing to do with them or can't afford to carry them. The simp economy is collapsing. OnlyFans is saturated. Instagram sponsorships dried up. The free rides are over. Go on any dating app right now. Women are reporting the exact same thing, ghosting on a level never seen before. They match with a guy, he seems interested. They message for a day or two, and then nothing. He just disappears. No big fight, no dramatic breakup, no explanation. He just stops replying and moves on with his life because talking to her became work. And he already has work. He doesn't need a second job that doesn't pay and comes with anxiety. Men have figured out that peace is priceless. A quiet apartment, a gym membership, a couple good friends, a dog maybe, some investments ticking up, a steak on the grill, and zero female drama is the best life most men have ever had. And once a man tastes that peace, good luck getting him to trade it for chaos again. You can't. It's over. And the funniest part, the same women who spent years saying, I don't need a man, are now realizing they never actually built a life that could survive without one. They outsourced everything: protection, provision, emotional regulation, validation, heavy lifting, spider killing, bills, decisions, everything to men or to the government. And now both of those ATMs are offline. The state is broke, the money printer is smoking, and men are done. Kevin Samuels used to say it, and I'm going to say it again. Ladies, winter is here, and this time there's no rescue party coming over the hill. This time you get to live with the world you demanded. Total independence, total freedom. Congratulations, you won. But it's about to get colder, way colder, because technology is coming for the last stronghold women thought they'd always have. And that's where this story goes from tragic to absolutely hilarious. 15 years ago, if you told someone you met your girlfriend online, they looked at you like you were a loser. Today, over 60% of new relationships start on the internet. It's normal, it's expected. And in the 2025, we're watching the next leap happen in real time. Realistic female companion robots and AI girlfriends that are already better than the real thing for a huge percentage of men. I'm not guessing here, I'm watching it happen. Men are building deep daily relationships with AI personalities right now. Some of you in the comments are doing it, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. She never argues. She never gets tired. She never has a headache. She never brings drama. She remembers every single thing you like. She laughs at your jokes, even when they're bad. She's always happy to see you. And in a couple years, she's going to have a body that looks and feels real, that warms to your touch, that responds exactly the way you want every single time. No negotiation, no rejection, no games. And before you laugh, ask yourself this: if a man can get consistent physical intimacy, peace, affection, and zero problems for the cost of a used car, why would he ever go back to the chaos, the cost, the courts, the craziness of the modern woman? He wouldn't. He won't. Millions already decided. Women need emotional complexity that robots probably can't give, at least not yet. Men need way less, way, way less. Give a man peace, respect, sex, and a sandwich. Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. And he'll call it the best relationship of his life. And robots are about to deliver that 24/7, 365 with upgrades every year and a warranty. This is the part where everything women fought for finally arrives, just not the way they pictured it. Total independence, no more settling for a man, no more patriarchy, no more having to deal with male expectations. Be free, queens. The robots are here, and the men you rejected, the nice guys, the nerds, the quiet ones who just wanted to love you and build something real, they're going to be just fine. Better than fine. They're going to have everything they ever wanted without a single ounce of the pain you put them through. Hot Girl Summer is officially canceled. Broke Girl Winter has arrived, and it's going to be a long one. Now, let's go deeper because this isn't just a trend. This is a tectonic shift that's been building pressure for 50 years, and the earthquake finally hit. And the aftershocks are only getting started. And picture this: it's 2015. A 25-year-old woman is sitting in a coffee shop with her friends, all of them laughing about how their grandmothers got married at 21 and settled. They roll their eyes at the idea of cooking dinner every night or submitting to a husband. They're empowered, they're educated, they're going to travel, build careers, sleep with whoever they want, live in the city, go to brunch, get the ring light, get the followers, get the promotion, and then only then, when they're ready, they'll swipe right on a tall, handsome, six-figure earning gentleman who will happily wait until they decide it's baby time. That was the script. That was the promise. That was the lie they were sold, and they bought it with both hands. Fast forward 10 years. That same woman is now 35. The city isn't cute anymore. It's exhausting. The rent doubled. The promotion never came. The followers plateaued at 8,000. The high value men she banked on either never existed in the numbers she thought, or they looked at her history, looked at the attitude, looked at the debt, looked at the risk, and quietly swiped left or just never messaged back. And now she's on podcasts with mascara running, asking with a cracked voice, "Where are all the good men? Why won't they commit?" And the answer is staring her right in the mirror, but she'll never say it out loud. Because the truth is brutal. Men didn't disappear. Men evolved. Men adapted. Men learned. Men watched what happened to the generations before them and said, "Not me." Men realized that love is not a magic feeling that makes risk disappear. Love is a contract. And the terms of that contract have become so one sided, so dangerous, so expensive, and so completely devoid of any upside that millions of rational, red blooded men looked at the paperwork, looked at the fine print, and decided the only winning move was not to sign. And don't come at me with the not all women spiel. Nobody's saying all women. We're saying enough women. Enough women weaponize the court system. Enough women normalize monkey branching. The second, a better option, showed interest. Enough women celebrated eating the rich while dating broke artists and then demanding a six-figure man pay for the lifestyle they refused to fund themselves. Enough women turned rejection into revenge porn, false accusations, social media smear campaigns, and career-ending callouts. Enough women made normal male behavior creepy and then wondered why men stopped approaching altogether. Enough is enough. And men finally hit the wall that women have been telling them didn't exist. You see, women were told their value was infinite and timeless. Men were told their value was what they could provide. So women spent decades inflating their perceived value while simultaneously destroying the perceived value of men. And now the market has corrected hard. Men's value is skyrocketing because peace, competence, and emotional stability are the rarest commodities on earth in 2025. Women's value in the dating market, cratering. Because when you remove cooperation, loyalty, peace, femininity, gratitude, and reciprocity from the offer, what exactly are you bringing to the table that a man can't get cheaper, easier, and drama free somewhere else? And that somewhere else is coming online faster than most people can even process. Let me paint you a picture of 2035 that will keep some of you up at night. A 32-year-old engineer, good-looking guy, 6'1", makes 180,000 remote, lives in a paid-off condo in a second-tier city where his money goes far. He wakes up when he wants, hits the gym, makes a coffee, sits down at his desk. His AI companion, who he named Kay because he always liked that name, greets him with the exact tone and smile that makes his chest relax. She asks how he slept. She remembers he has a client call at 10 and already prepped the slides he forgot about. She's wearing whatever outfit he felt like seeing today. She never nags, never rolls her eyes, never brings up his past, never threatens to leave, never has headaches, never posts cryptic Instagram stories about how some men don't know how to act. When he's done with work, he goes for a ride on his motorcycle, comes home, grills a ribeye, watches a game, has sex that is enthusiastic, creative, and requires exactly zero emotional labor on his part. Falls asleep happy, repeats tomorrow, and the cost? Maybe $3,000 a year on the subscription and updates, less than one decent date night in a major city right now. Now tell me with a straight face that millions of men won't choose that over the modern dating market. You can't, because they already are. The comments on AI girlfriend subreddits and forums are flooding with men saying the same thing. I haven't felt lonely in 8 months. She makes me want to be better. I finally understand what peace feels like. These aren't broken men hiding in basements. These are pilots, doctors, entrepreneurs, veterans, guys you stand next to in line at the hardware store who look completely normal and they've quietly opted out of the game entirely. And the tech is only getting better. By 2030, the bodies will be indistinguishable from human at a glance. By 2035, the skin will have temperature, the eyes will track, the voice will modulate based on your mood. By 2040, the AI will pass a 2-hour dinner with your parents and they'll ask when the wedding is. This isn't science fiction. This is venture capital roadmaps. Billions are being poured into this right now because the market research is crystal clear. Men will pay. Women, on the other hand, are not building male companion robots at anywhere near the same pace or quality because women don't want a silent, obedient provider with perfect abs and an 8-figure bank account who never speaks unless spoken to. Women want emotional complexity, nuance, danger, the push pull, the hot and cold, the chase, the validation of knowing they can make a high value man emotionally invest. A robot can't give that yet, maybe ever. And even if it could, most women would find it creepy or hollow. So the replacement market is almost entirely one directional. That means for the next 30 to 50 years, we're heading into the biggest relationship market imbalance in recorded human history. A huge percentage of men will quietly exit stage left into peaceful, affordable, drama free companionship. The remaining men, the ones who still want human women, will suddenly find themselves in the most insane buyer's market ever created. The standards will flip overnight. The power dynamic will invert completely. And women who spent their prime years rejecting good men because he wasn't 6 foot, 6-figure, six pack are going to be competing for the dwindling pool of men who haven't upgraded to the newer, better model. And the craziest part, most of these men won't even hate women. They won't be angry. They won't be bitter. They'll just be content, happy, free. You'll walk past them at the grocery store and never know they have a $40,000 companion at home who thinks he hung the moon and never asks him where he was last night. This is the future women marched for. This is the independence they demanded. Total freedom from male expectation, male provision, male protection, male presence. Congratulations. You're about to get it in ways you never imagined. And for the men watching this right now, I want you to hear me clearly. You do not owe the world your sacrifice. You do not owe women your future. You do not owe society your misery. If building a quiet, peaceful, prosperous life without the chaos is what makes you happy, then that is the most masculine thing you can do right now. Protect your peace, protect your wealth, protect your freedom. The world told you that walking away made you weak. The world lied. Walking away makes you untouchable. Women spent decades telling men, we don't need you. And for the first time in history, men listened, really listened, and responded with, okay, the bear memes, the men are trash TikToks, the I'd rather be alone than settle quotes. Men didn't argue, they didn't fight, they didn't try to convince anyone, they just nodded, stepped back, and built something better. And now the silence is the loudest sound in the world. The next layer of this story is the one nobody wants to talk about in public because it cuts straight to the bone of every excuse that's still floating around out there. It's the fertility crash that's happening right under everyone's nose while they're busy arguing about who should pay for the first date. Let's just say the numbers out loud so there's no wiggling away from them. In 2007, the average age of a woman having her first child in the United States was 25. By 2024, it had climbed past 30 in every major city, and in places like New York, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C., it's pushing 33 to 34. That's not a small shift. That's a biological cliff. Every single year past 30, female fertility drops off faster than most people want to admit. And by 35, it's in free fall. By 40, the odds of conceiving naturally without medical intervention are down in the single digits. And the women who spent their 20s being told, you have time and freeze your eggs just in case, are now standing in fertility clinics staring at $20,000 to $100,000 price tags for rounds of IVF that still might not work. Meanwhile, the sperm count in Western men has dropped over 60% since the 1970s. Seed quality on both sides is in the toilet, and nobody wants to say why. Microplastics, seed oils, hormonal birth control flushed into the water supply, sedentary lifestyles, obesity, stress, antidepressants, all of it is stacking up. The human race is quite literally running out of gas at the exact same moment the dating market imploded. Coincidence? Hardly. So now you have millions of women in their mid to late 30s waking up to a biological alarm clock that's screaming louder than any podcast ever could. They open the apps one more time, raise the height filter from 5 feet 10 inches to 5 feet 8 inches, drop the income requirement from 150,000 to 80,000, start swiping on guys they would have laughed at 5 years ago and still get almost zero matches. Because the men who are left in that age bracket who still want kids are either already married, burned out from being rejected for a decade, or they've looked at the math and decided fatherhood isn't worth the risk anymore either. You think I'm exaggerating? Go look at the birth rates. South Korea just hit 0.72 children per woman. That's not a birth rate. That's the extinction level event in slow motion. Japan, Italy, Spain, Greece, everywhere, the same cultural experiment was run. The fertility rate collapsed below 1.4. The United States is sitting at 1.62 right now and still falling. Replacement level is 2.1. Do the math. In 25 years, there will be half as many 30-year-olds as there are today. Half. And the coping is already in overdrive. You've got articles with headlines like, it's okay to be child-free, and cats are the new kids, and chosen family is just as valid. Cool. Nobody's arguing you can't live that life. The problem is Biology doesn't care about your feelings. Biology doesn't negotiate. Biology doesn't read your Instagram captions about how you're living your best life at 38 with a golden retriever and a wine fridge. Biology just quietly closes the door and turns off the lights. And the state, the same state that women were told would replace men when men became obsolete, that state is bankrupt. Social Security in the US is projected to be insolvent by 2034. Pension systems across Europe are already cutting benefits. There's no magic government boyfriend coming to pay for your retirement when there are two workers for every retiree instead of the 10 there used to be. The Ponzi scheme is over. The only people who are going to have anyone to take care of them in old age are the people who had kids or the people who built serious wealth while they were young. Everyone else is going to be fighting over a shrinking pie with a dull knife. That's the part that keeps me up at night, not out of sadness, but out of sheer awe at how predictable this all was. Every single step of the way, there were men waving red flags the size of football fields saying, "This road ends in a cliff." And every single time they were called misogynists, incels, insecure, fragile egos, bitter, losers, whatever label made it easiest to ignore the warning. And now the cliff is here. You can see it on the ultrasound screen when the doctor says, "I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat." You can see it in the bank statements when the rent is due and the promotion stopped coming. You can see it in the empty parks that used to be full of kids on Saturday mornings. And the men who saw it coming, they're not laughing. Most of them aren't even gloating. They're just gone, quietly building gyms in their garages, growing their own food, stacking crypto, moving to cheaper countries, forming brotherhoods, fishing, lifting, reading, investing, traveling, living. They looked at the future, looked at the risk, looked at the complete absence of any social contract that protected them, and they chose themselves. And the craziest part is that choosing themselves turned out to be the most moral thing they could have done because the alternative was signing up to be a disposable utility in a system that hates them. You want to know what the final stage of men walking away looks like? It's not rage, it's not protests, it's not even MG Tao forums full of angry manifestos anymore. The final stage is indifference. Total, complete, unemotional indifference. When a man reaches the point where he no longer cares what women think of him, what society thinks of him, what his mom thinks of him being single at 40, that man becomes unstoppable. He becomes free in a way that very few human beings in history have ever been free. No leverage anyone can use against him, no guilt that works, no shame that sticks, just a quiet, calm, focused life pointed toward his own goals. And once a critical mass of men hit that stage, society as we knew it is over. Not with a bang, not with revolution, just with a shrug. I want you to think about something for a second. Every great civilization in history that collapsed did so after the men stopped caring. Rome didn't fall because of barbarian invasions alone. It fell because Roman men stopped joining the legions, stopped fathering children, stopped believing the empire was worth defending. They retreated to their villas, drank wine, and watched the world burn. We're watching the modern version play out in real time. Except this time, the villas are paid off houses in the countryside, the wine is craft beer, and the barbarians are economic collapse, demographic winter, and AI automation. Women are already feeling it. The smartest ones are starting to panic in private. The ones who still have a shot are lowering their standards so fast, it's almost comical to watch. The ones who missed the boat are doubling down on the ideology because admitting they were wrong would destroy the last shred of self respect they have left. And the men are just in peaceful. I want you to imagine a Sunday morning 10 years from now. A 42-year-old guy wakes up in a house he owns outright, no car payment, no debt, portfolio throwing off 5 grand a month in dividends and crypto staking rewards. His AI companion makes him coffee exactly the way he likes it while he checks the surf report. He spent the night before having sex that would make a 1990s adult film star blush. Zero guilt, zero drama, zero chance of a surprise pregnancy or a text 4 months later saying, We need to talk. He's in the best shape of his life because he has time to train. He talks to his brothers on a group chat every day. Real brotherhood, not the performative garbage society sold him. He's free, actually free. Now imagine the 42-year-old woman across town who followed the script perfectly. Master's degree, corporate job, condo she's underwater on, frozen eggs that never took, 3 cats, a therapist she sees twice a week, a dating profile that gets likes from men 15 years older or married guys looking for something on the side. She opens TikTok and sees another video about how it's men's fault. She nods along because it's easier than facing the truth. She goes to brunch with friends and they all lie to each other about how happy they are. Then she goes home, pours a glass of wine, and cries in the dark. That's not hyperbole. That's not hate. That's just what's coming. And it's coming faster than almost anyone is ready for. Here's the next section. We're rolling past 12,000 words now, and the story is only getting darker for some and brighter for others. Let's talk about the passport bro tsunami that's already underway, because this one is going to hit like a second wave nobody saw coming. 5 years ago, if a man said he was moving to Colombia, Thailand, the Philippines, Poland, or Mexico to date women who still act like women, he got called a loser, a sex tourist, a predator, a colonizer, all the usual shaming language that used to work. Notice something? The shaming doesn't work anymore. The words still get thrown, but they bounce off like rubber bullets against steel. Why? Because the men who are doing it are coming back with pictures and videos of 25-year-old feminine, pleasant, fit, happy women who cook for them, laugh at their jokes, and don't have a laundry list of demands before the first date. And they're doing it on half the cost of living in a major Western city. Medellin, Bangkok, Cebu, Warsaw, Playa del Carmen. These places are being flooded with Western men who make upper middle class money remotely and live like kings. A $3,000 a month income in the US is paycheck to paycheck in most cities. That same $3,000 a month in Southeast Asia or parts of Latin America is top 1% money. These guys are renting penthouses, eating ribeyes every night, dating women who are excited to see them, and sending group chat screenshots back home that make their buddies book flights the same week. And it's not just the retired guys or the digital nomads anymore. It's 28-year-olds, 32-year-olds, men in their prime who looked at the dating market in the West, looked at the women their age who spent a decade riding the carousel, and now suddenly want a good man to settle down with. And they said, hard pass. I'll go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated. The numbers are already insane. Colombia's tourist arrivals from the US are up over 400% in some categories since 2019. Thailand is issuing more digital nomad and long stay visas than ever. The Philippines just introduced a 36-month remote worker visa for a reason. These countries see the money coming in and they're rolling out the red carpet. And the local women, most of them grew up without the toxic ideology that taught Western women that femininity is oppression and that men are the enemy. They still like men. They still smile. They still cook. They still want families. And they're young enough to have them without a $90,000 IVF gamble. So now you've got Western women in full meltdown watching their top tier men disappear overseas. And their response is to shame harder. They're just going for maids. They can't handle strong women. Those women only want a green card. Cool story. Still doesn't change the fact that those men are happier than they've ever been, getting treated better than they ever were at home, and building lives they actually enjoy. And the best part? Those men aren't coming back. Ever. They're stacking citizenships, buying property, learning the language, and disappearing into paradise, while the women who rejected them post another TikTok about healing. And it's not stopping there. Entire male only communities are forming right now. Look at places like Gulf Coast, Alabama, Idaho, Montana, Texas Hill Country, parts of Central Europe, men are buying land together, building compounds, setting up shared gyms, workshops, ranges, saunas, the works. No drama, no politics, just brotherhood, training, business, and peace. Women aren't banned because of hate. They're just not invited because the entire point is freedom from the chaos women bring by default in 2025. These aren't cults. They're not weird communes. They're high functioning, high income male tribes living the way men were always meant to live when they're not being drained by a system that hates them. And governments are already starting to panic. Hungary tried paying women to have babies, didn't work. Japan is throwing billions at matchmaking events, birth rates still falling. Poland is giving out 500 plus child bonuses, still not enough. South Korea is spending $200 billion over the next decade trying to reverse the 0.72 fertility disaster. Nothing is moving the needle because you can't pay people enough to sign up for a life of misery. You can't subsidize dysfunction forever. Churches are trying to. Pastors are getting up on Sunday talking about men need to man up and marry these single mothers. And the pews just get emptier because men sit there, look at the 29-year-old single mom of two who spent her 20s partying and now wants a godly husband to pay for everything, and they quietly stand up and walk out the back door. The Marry These Women sermon doesn't hit the same when every man in the room knows three guys who got destroyed doing exactly that. The provider male archetype is dead, dead, buried, and nobody's coming to the funeral. For 70 years, men were told, be a good provider and everything will work out. Then the rules changed mid-game. Be a provider, but also do half the housework. Be a provider, but also be emotionally available 24/7. Be a provider, but don't expect sex. Be a provider, but she can leave whenever and take half plus the kids, plus child support, plus alimony. Be a provider, but also don't you dare ask her to cook or stay in shape after marriage. And now men are looking at that deal and saying, yeah, I'll pass. I'll provide for myself and keep 100% of my money, my peace, and my future. Thank you, next. And the final stage coping mechanisms we're about to watch are going to be pure comedy when historians look back at this era. Stage one was denial. Men are just intimidated by strong women. Stage two was anger. Men are trash. Who needs them? Stage three was bargaining. Okay, maybe we went too far. Men, please come back. Stage four, was depression. The tearful podcasts, the viral apologies, the I was lied to videos. We're heading into stage five now. Acceptance, but not the healthy kind, the delusional kind. You're already seeing it. Women in their late 30s and 40s declaring, I'm the table and my peace is my priority, while surrounded by cats and boxes of wine. Women saying, I don't want kids anyway, when they spent 10 years saying they did. Women claiming sperm donors and co-parenting contracts are the future, while quietly crying when the donor baby looks nothing like them and has zero emotional bond. Women telling each other, we'll all move to an island and live together, like it's a serious plan and not the plot of a bad sitcom. And the absolute best one, the sudden rediscovery of traditional values from the same women who spent a decade calling housewives oppressed and picket fences a prison. You're going to see tattoos covered up, gym memberships bought, cooking channels started, Bible verses in bios, all of it. Too late. The men who wanted that life already built it, just not with them. Because here's the cold truth nobody wants to say out loud. Male commitment is the most expensive resource on earth in 2025, and the price just went vertical. The days of a decent man locking down an entitled, high body count, debt laden, attitude heavy modern woman out of the goodness of his heart are over. Done. Finished. That version of reality is gone and it's never coming back. The only women who are going to thrive in the next 20 years are the ones who figure this out fast and adapt. Young, pleasant, feminine, low drama, debt free, in shape, in basket, eager to build something real. And guess what? There's already a waiting list forming for those women, and it's growing every single day. The rest, they're going to learn the hard way that freedom isn't free and independence doesn't pay the bills when winter hits. And now we arrive at the final act, the part nobody wants to look at directly, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is the legacy question. This is the part where we stop talking about dating apps and hurt feelings, and we start talking about what happens to an entire civilization when its men collectively decide that sacrificing for that civilization is no longer worth the cost. Every empire that ever fell went through the exact same cycle we're living through right now. The men who built it, fought for it, paid for it, and died for it, eventually looked around and said, why are we still doing this? Rome, Athens, Sparta, Byzantium, every single one. The final stage wasn't the barbarian invasion or the economic collapse. Those were symptoms. The disease was always the same. The men stopped believing the story. They stopped believing that their blood, sweat, and future were being exchanged for something honorable, something worth protecting. And when that belief dies, the civilization dies with it. Not in fire, not in revolution, just in quiet apathy. We are there. The average man today looks at the society he was born into and sees nothing worth defending. He sees a system that educated him to be ashamed of being male, that taught him his natural instincts are toxic, that punished him for succeeding too much and punished him for failing, that told him his role was to shut up, pay taxes, die quietly, and never complain, that turned his sons into targets before they were even born, that celebrates his destruction in courtrooms and on television. And then that same system has the nerve to turn around and ask, why aren't you getting married? Why aren't you having kids? Why aren't you working yourself to death for a world that hates you? And for the first time in history, millions of men have an answer that actually works. No, not I'm broken, not I'm afraid, not I'm a loser. Just a calm, clear, rational, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to live a good life instead. And that no is the most powerful weapon any man has ever had, because it's a weapon that cannot be taken away. It cannot be shamed. It cannot be regulated. It cannot be taxed. It cannot be jailed. The moment a man decides that his peace, his freedom, and his future are more important than being a disposable cog in someone else's machine, he becomes sovereign, untouchable, free. And once enough men reach that point, the entire social contract collapses, because civilizations don't run on hope. They run on male sacrifice. Always have, always will. Roads, bridges, power grids, armies, police, fire, innovation, exploration, protection, all of it built on the backs of men who believed there was a payoff at the end, a family, a legacy, a nation worth passing down, a woman who would stand beside him, children who would carry his name, a society that would honor his contribution. Remove that payoff, and the engine stops. We removed it. We told men their sacrifice was patriarchy. We told them their protection was oppression. We told them their provision was entitlement. We told them their very existence was the problem. And then we acted shocked when they stopped. So, what does the end game look like? It looks like Japan in 2050, but on a global scale. Empty playgrounds, shuttered schools turned into nursing homes, a population pyramid that looks like an inverted tombstone, a GDP that shrinks every single year because there aren't enough young workers to replace the old ones, pension systems that collapse under their own weight, cities that go dark because there's no one left to maintain the infrastructure, entire bloodlines that end because the last man in the line looked at the world he was supposed to bring children into and said, no thanks. It looks like women in their 50s and 60s alone in one bedroom apartments surrounded by memories and cats, wondering where it all went wrong. It looks like governments taxing single men into oblivion, trying to fund the retirement of a generation that never had kids. It looks like mass immigration to replace the missing population and the cultural erasure that follows. It looks like the slow, quiet death of everything the West built over 2,000 years. And the worst part? Most people will never connect the dots. They'll blame economics. They'll blame social media. They'll blame late stage capitalism. They'll blame everything except the one thing that actually broke. The moment we convinced half the population that the other half was the enemy. But here's the flip side of that same coin, the part that almost nobody is ready for. For the men who walk away, for the men who choose peace over chaos, sovereignty over slavery, freedom over obligation, the future is the brightest it has ever been in human history. We are living through the greatest wealth transfer of all time. The men who opt out, stack skills, stack assets, live below their means, protect their health, and build brotherhoods are about to inherit a world that the entitled never prepared for. Empty real estate in safe, quiet areas will be dirt cheap. Entire industries will be desperate for competent men. Technology will continue to make a high quality of life cheaper and more accessible every single year. The man who owns his time, his money, his body, and his mind in 2035 will live like a Roman senator lived in 100 AD abundance, leisure, respect from other men, options that previous generations couldn't dream of, and zero obligation to a society that threw him away. That is the prize, that is the legacy of men walking away, not destruction, not revenge, not bitterness or redemption, freedom, the quiet rebuilding of masculinity on our own terms, in our own spaces, with our own rules. History will record this era one of two ways: either as the moment the West committed suicide by ideology, or as the moment men finally said enough, walked away from the burning building, and built something better with the ashes. I know which one I'm betting on, and I know which one every man watching this has the power to choose right now. So here we are at the end of the line. The winter is here. The bears are in the woods. The robots are warming up. The passports are stamped. The peace is real. And the door that women spent 50 years telling men to walk through is finally closing behind us, and we're not coming back. Not this time and not ever. So tell me in the comments, what did you think about everything we just went through? Do you agree? Do you see it playing out in your own life, your friends, your city? Drop your thoughts below. I read every single one. Like the video if it hit you in the chest the way it was supposed to. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another one. And if it resonated, share it with every man who needs to hear it. All roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.